New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary direct from our newsroom, otherwise known as my Compost Heap. Let's see what stories we're working on this week. Oh, now I'm working on getting these beer bottles out of my compost heap. Now, who would put beer bottles in a compost heap? I know, because the party's getting started. Woo! College students down the road. Wintergreen Apartments. You've seen the billboards, supposedly luxury apartments, way too expensive for anyone to buy. It's a new complex that got built on Blake Street, where there used to be an abandoned factory. And here's the story. When they were going to build them originally and cram too many apartments for that area, because it's a narrow road there is too much traffic, they lied to people. They said, there's no way that this is going to be a dorm for students, because the neighborhood has had problems with that around Valley Street. We're going to just make sure there are some upscale apartments, and they're going to build 293, and supposedly they're going to fill them. They got permission from the city to do that, and specifically was written into that permission that it can't be a dorm. All of a sudden this week, the neighbors are called to a meeting, and it turns out that they can't fill the apartments. It's ridiculous. And they are trying to turn it into a dorm. They had UNH up there trying to sell them on it. My point isn't that there's a problem with college students. My issue is that every time developers come with a project in New Haven that's big and they need permission, they always lie in the interest of greed. And the politicians, elected officials help them do it, and they always turn out differently. We have a long history of that, back to David Chase getting his 99 years free rent across from the Green to build that government tower, and then not doing what he promised with City Hall, to stuff like projects you don't even hear about anymore called Hill South. It happened with Sharpenburg. That's not going to turn out like they said. But what gets me is the enablers, because the enablers are the city, often for good intentions, the city officials who want to build that tax base. They buy this baloney, and then our aldermen and others help them do it, especially the Google liberals like in East Rock and neighborhoods like that. They're always buying this garbage from big developers and helping them do it. Like, let me give you another example here. I was reading here in Business New Haven about College Square. That's a big new project they want to build across from the new high school on College Street, where College Wine is and stuff, or was. They made a mistake we've made so often in New Haven. I can't believe that any person would do it again. They threw out businesses that were paying rent. TK's Bar, especially Cooper's Dress Shop. That's a place that got thrown out in the 60s from Church Street, because they were making way for urban renewal that never worked, and they uproot livelihoods, and they get rid of the small businesses that build the tax base. They did it again all these decades later. This dress shop that people come for miles and miles, even from out of state for gowns, they kick them out because some politically connected developer has some garbage idea that he's going to build a 19-story condo tower, right, and gets that permission. He hires a politically connected attorney. For good motives, maybe the city development people buy it. Aldermen have no problem with it. Well, guess what? They moved out these businesses. They just tried to help some move. College Wine found a new place. Cooper's Dress Stock left town. They couldn't come to agreement. But they made that mistake again. It doesn't even help the tax base. They can't build the thing. The thing's changed 3 times. According to Business New Haven, now they say they're going to build a luxury hotel. Well, maybe they didn't read the Wall Street Journal this week and find out for the first time ever they're building way more hotel rooms at a time when occupancy is going down. This is going to go over and over again. Until we learn the lessons, we don't make special permission for people who are connected or got the bucks and screw over the city every time. What else are we working on this time? Now, here's a shovel. Sometimes people, it's not that everything you build is wrong. They got the shovels into the ground a year ago at Whaley and Pendleton to build a new place for seniors who are homeless or have disabilities, and build something called supportive housing, which is a good idea Connecticut's working on slowly, to deal with homelessness, to get people in places they can afford to live that have services right there so they don't end up back on the street. And let me tell you why I'm bringing up the shovel. They built it in a year, which was less time than they said it was going to be built. And they worked with the neighborhood. They originally wanted to build it too big for that space, and they needed that special permission. The neighborhood was upset because this wasn't a big, rich developer. They weren't going to get that permission. And they ended up building something they could build as of right, which means they could build 22 apartments and have some extra space and enough parking on site. But they don't need special permission, and the neighborhood liked it. And they worked with them about getting security right, and they designed it really nicely. This guy, Paul Bailey, it's like a nice kind of brick and the other kind of siding, the nice details you get in those New England old houses that fit right in. So it can be done. It can be done with heart. It can be done smart without screwing over New Haven. That's our example. Till next time, that's the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary. And remember, always pick up your trash.